Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran. It's about 1 in the morning. I need to go to sleep, so I can sign up for classes tomorrow. But before that, we want to talk a bit about Rogues and Legion. When it comes to covering Rogues and Legion, I'm basically going to cover the main points that you need to know. I mean, there's a lot of numbers and changes happening, but for the most part, it's just flavor text getting changed up for the tooltip. So I'll just cover you guys with only things you need to know basis. Nothing crazy happening to Assassination. They reduced its energy generation with Venomous Wounds a little bit, slightly. They made sure that Shadow Focus and Night Stalker are working with Stealth, so I guess that wasn't working at one point. Another thing I noticed is Assassin Resolve no longer says, while wielding daggers, your maximum energy is increased by 20 and your damage is increased by 17. Also, Mutilate is one of the only abilities Assassination Rogues get. It doesn't require you to have a dagger, it just requires a Rogue, Assassination, and level 10. So it seems like the need for daggers for Assassination might be gone, which is interesting to think about it. But those are the basic changes for Assassination. A lot of level 10 talents just change it up in terms of flavor text for it. They take out a lot of the wordiness that doesn't need to be there. I guess the only change is Venom Rush that really got changed. Instead of increasing regeneration rate by 15, it makes your Venomous Wounds grant 3 additional energy each time it grants energy. So I guess it's better than having to, poison enemies. It's just as long as you have your dot, you get a little bit extra energy out of it. Maybe that's where we reduce Venom Rush energy cost or energy give back to make Venom Rush a little bit more viable for Assassination. Outlaw Rogues. Nothing huge happened in terms of specialization. They did decrease the range on run through, and I think it's mostly because of a talent that Outlaw Rogues get. The talent basically allows all your abilities to hit a little bit further, increase range on all your abilities about 3 yards. So they changed the yard distance for a run through from 8 yards to 5 to maybe make that talent viable. Chances are we're still not going to run it as Outlaw Rogues, but maybe it'll be good. They're a little bit extra for run through. In terms of talents, they actually kind of buffed us in a small way, and I'll explain exactly how. First of all, we have Dirty Tricks, which now allows our Gouge, Blind, Cheap Shot, and Sap to no longer cost energy. So it's basically Shadow Focus while we're in Stealth, which is nice. But when you look at the same talent tree, Dirty Tricks isn't the best option we got. I feel like Parlay is a better option, which is buffed itself as well. They made it so Parlay doesn't replace a Blind. So my guess is Parlay is basically an outer combat Sap, which is kind of cool. Unless it's the same thing as a Blind, which is still fine. We basically have an ability that we can use on a moment's notice for no energy at all, 20-second cooldown instant, and no longer replaces Blind. So that's nice. It's gonna be, as straight up, just gonna be interesting to see Outlaw Rogues running around and being like, CC based in terms of arenas. Swordmaster was also buffed, which is a talent, basically would read normally. Saber Slash has an additional 50% chance to trigger a second free Saber Slash. They changed it. I'm not sure if the original way was Swordmaster with Saber Slash and then you get a free Saber Slash. If that's how it was, then that was like the crappy version of this ability. But now it reads Saber Slash has a 50% chance, increased chance to strike an additional time. I guess it's better than having to think of like Saber Slash, then Saber Slash, rather than you get 1 for 2 at the same time, which is always good. So overall, Outlaw seems like it got slight buffs here and there. Subtlety, nothing huge changed for it. Actually, no, Subtlety got some big changes for Shadow Dance. Made it a little bit less face roll. I'll talk about it in a bit. First thing, Backstab no longer gets replaced when you grab for Gloomblade. They made it so Gloomblade no longer replaces Backstab. So now you have an option of hitting your target with a shadow damage or physical damage. This is kind of nice. I can see myself or somebody in a situation where, let's say, they're fighting a Death Knight and Death Knight pops AMS. So instead of spamming Gloomblades into them, now you can spam Backstabs instead, and you can deal physical damage. I think it's kind of nice just to have this option. So if you have anti-magical capabilities on a target, like they're reducing magical damage, you swap to Backstab. If they're reducing physical damage, swap to Gloomblade. So I think it's kind of nice. It's just an interesting choice. I've never seen something like that in the game before. They made it so that Night Stalker and Shadow Focus work with Shadow Dance. So as soon as Shadow Dance is activated, you are in Stealth. So Night Stalker works, Shadow Focus works, and Subterfuge works. This basically makes Subterfuge much less effective. Night Stalker becomes a better option because it increases the damage you deal and makes you a bit faster. And Shadow Focus reduces all energy cost of abilities by 50. So if you're struggling with energy or you're basically trying to line up on a target with Shadow Dance, you pop Shadow Dance with Shadow Focus, you can spam out your burst without worrying about energy. Or if you're really good at managing energy, you can go with Night Stalker for more damage. I feel like Night Stalker will end up being in the meta, but maybe Shadow Focus will be better for just energy consumption, so it'll be more like how many hits you get rather than how good your hits are. Then they started also making subtlety a little less face rolly. Starts with symbols of death. So symbols of death, basically you use it once in a while, you refresh it kind of like a slice and dice. It costs a little bit more energy now, but it also lasts a bit longer. So previously it would cost 20 energy, which is your feint, which 20 energy isn't a lot, but it increases to 35. So it's kind of hard to pitch in the symbols of death into your rotation, let's say mid-combat, if you are a bad rogue and you don't really know how to manage your energy that well. So rogues that know how to manage energy are going to be rewarded because then symbols of death last longer, so they can take advantage of the opportunity of longer buff for 20% extra damage. Rogues that are bad at managing energy are going to find themselves in, let's say, really complex and difficult to get out situations in terms of PvP. They're going to find themselves kind of punished by using symbol of death, like without watching out for their energy. So I think it's an interesting ability. Makes less likely that people will roll rogue just to be face rolly for the amazing subtlety rogue damage. And even that, they kind of sort of nerfed, which I'll explain in a second. The only PvP talent changes for subtlety that happen is Phantom Assassin got changed. Phantom Assassin previously used to increase the damage by 30 while in Shadow Dance, but the cooldown was increased by 60. So it's probably the best option that rogues could get, because once you use Shadow Dance, you get 30% extra damage, plus the plethora of all the extra damage increases that you have as a subtlety rogue. And then with DFA, and you literally shave off 60% of your enemy's health, and if they're low, they're basically dead. They changed that so it's less face rolly, increase the duration of Shadow Dance by 3 seconds, so good rogues will know how to use it, how to get the most, I guess, damage out of it. And you automatically gain symbols of death when you enter stealth. So basically makes Shadow Dance, it still makes it valuable and makes the Phantom Assassin a value, kind of a talent. It just makes it less face rolly. It's not going to be more about pop Shadow Dance, get your combo points, DFA, bam, your enemy is dead. But more like pop Shadow Dance, it lasts a little longer, so you can use it for, let's say, CC to triple cheap shot, so, you know, an enemy team, and then get some damage out with DFAs or eviscerates, you know, maybe even kidneys sinking somewhere in there, and also gives you symbols of death, so it's less for you to work with. So what I'm saying is, good rogues that know how to use the free symbols of death and the 3 extra seconds of Shadow Dance every time you use Shadow Dance, those rogues are going to know how to use the ability properly. So it's not going to be just pop Shadow Dance, pop DFA, profit. It's more like pop Shadow Dance, find a way to use it properly, possible profit. So less likely for rogues to be face roll. Those have changed a lot of talents. They made Anticipation hold 8 extra combo points rather than 3. So at most you can have as a rogue, let's say potentially on a target, is 13 combo points. So that's like a kidney into an eviscerate, and then you still have 3 combo points to do something with. So they actually made Anticipation better and might be a possible option. I'm not sure if it'll be that great though. Also made change Prey on the Weak for Outlaw, so enemies disabled by a Gouge, Blind, Cheap Shot, and Sap have 10% increased damage from the sources, but I feel like I'm not going to end up running Prey on the Weak as an Outlaw Rogue. If only they had Between the Eyes in there, then I feel like it might be a really good choice. But I feel like Parlay will end up being the better option. I don't know, we'll have to see down the line. Now the biggest part I want to talk about in this video was the Legendaries. There's actually a lot of Legendaries that change Rogue's playstyles completely. And when I look at them, they look kind of OP. And for the longest time, all these Legendaries flew under my radar, but recently they resurfaced out of nowhere. So I just want to talk about them. So if you guys haven't checked out the amazing Legendaries, let's take a look at them right now. Okay, I just did some research. I'm not sure if... Let me preface this, the Legendaries. I have no idea if they're going to be allowed in PvP. If anything, maybe Blizzard might allow these to be in World PvP. Battlegrounds might not be included. Arenas probably not going to be included, because they do want to make gear a less of a factor for PvP. Still, with a small possibility that this could be allowed for PvP, it will be actually OP when you think about it. Still, I want to take a look at some of the Legendaries that rogues get. I guess it would be kind of fun to duel with these kind of Legendaries, just to feel straight up powerful and just take a look. So let's get to it. You got a neck piece. After not taking damage for 5 seconds, gain an absorb shield for 30% of your maximum health for 30 seconds. This sounds like something subtlety rogues would use. 100%. After not taking damage for 5 seconds, gain an absorb shield for 30% of your maximum health. Sounds like ganking, sounds like dueling, and maybe even an arena style item that I would be able to use. We got a ring, and the ring says, successful applying an incapacitate, disorient, fear, root, sleep, or stun to an enemy grants a 70% movement speed for 10 seconds. I don't know many PvE situations where you will apply CC. This makes me want to say this could be applied for PvP. You stun somebody, you gain 70%, you get a sprint. You sap somebody, you get a sprint. That's insane. Your attacks cause an additional 100% more damage to enemies at full health. That could be good for swaps. You know, swap with a DFA onto a target. 100% extra damage. We got a cloak that says distract causes your enemies to take 25% more damage from you for 8 seconds. Now, I never use distract for PvP. Actually, there's a couple times I use distract for PvP, but not really in arena. And to be able to use distract in order to make enemies take more damage, now that'll be interesting. We also got boots. The remaining cooldown on Vendetta is reduced by 1 second for every 30 energy you spend. Now that sounds like an assassination rogue item, and that'd be kind of cool to have way shorter cooldown on Vendetta. 1 second for every 30 energy you expend, that basically forces you to use energy. It doesn't say you need to use that energy offensively, so you can spam feint, and you don't have burst of speed, but spam and feint work. We got another pair of boots. Run through gains increased damage equals to 50% of your increased movement speed. So more damage by the increased movement speed. So sprint, run. Oh, that kind of sounds cool. You sprint at the target and you run through them and allow the momentum to give you more damage. Oh, that is so cool. I kind of like that. That just sounds cool. And I guess we got subtlety boots. And Shadow Strike restores 1 energy for every yard between you and the target. So Shadow Strike will take energy out of you, but it can potentially give you back energy. So that's kind of cool to catch up to a target. That's very limiting, but it's unique. I like these the energy-based boots, or yeah, this energy-based boots or speed-based boots. That's interesting. The insignia of Ring Hold is a ring that increases the damage of your Mutilate, Saber Slash, Gloom Blade, Backstab, Hemorrhage, Ghosted Strike, Ambush, or Shadow Strike. They deal all of them deal a 15% additional damage as Shadow to all targets within 15 yards directly in front of you. So, is that at all times or a percent chance? 50% additional damage as Shadow to all targets in front of you. Yeah, in PvP I feel like that could be kind of OP. You got Valyr's Will, which I think would be broken in PvP. Feint heals you for 30% of your maximum health over 5 seconds. So as you use Feint to take less damage, you also heal yourself over 5 seconds. That's kind of insane. I kind of like that. Your bleed deals 50% increased damage to targets below 40% health. Oh, that's an assassination buff for sure. That sounds kind of cool actually. Green Skin, Waterclog, Wrist Cuffs, Outlaw Rogue I'm gonna call. Between the assets, there's a 20% chance per combo point to increase the damage of your next pistol shot by 850%. Oh no, that's definitely, yeah, I want to say these are not going to be used in PvP. Then we got Subtlety. Finisher moves extend the duration of Shadow Blades by 0.5 seconds for each combo point spent. That'd be so good for an opener. Holy crap. I know they're overpowered, and they sound too strong to be true. And I'm pretty sure every other class is a really strong legendary. But I almost kind of want them to exist. I almost want them to be in the game. That'd be a lot of fun. I would actually enjoy it a lot. Wow. So, yeah. We got ourselves some legendaries. That was fun. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Should legendaries be in PvP? And let me know what you think about the rogue changes happening in Legion. My name is Darren. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys were informed. I'll see you guys in the next one.